When people think of ADHD, they usually picture someone distracted, forgetful, maybe bouncing around with too much energy. But let's be real. For many of us, the thing that trips us up the most isn't losing our keys or zoning out in a meeting, it's our emotions. And if you've ever been told you're too sensitive or you felt like your emotions and the thought spirals that go with them take over your whole day, while everyone else just shrugs things off, you're not imagining it. Your ADHD brain really does experience emotions differently. That's what we're going to talk about today. Why emotional sensitivity is such a core part of ADHD, why shame makes it so much worse, and how you can begin to see your sensitivity as not just a struggle, but also as a strength once we talk about how to work with it. So let's start here. Emotions with ADHD are not just a personality quirk, it's a brain based thing. First, our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that helps us regulate, pause, and put things into perspective, doesn't communicate as smoothly with the emotion centers like the amygdala, which means once an emotion hits, it can feel like there's no dimmer switch, only an on or off light. Second, our working memory, that sticky note system for holding information, is less reliable. So when you're upset, you can't easily hold on to the reminder that this will pass. It can feel endless. Third, ADHD brains often carry rejection sensitivity. A small comment, a neutral text message, or even just a look can hit with the force of rejection. And because our brains process it as real danger, the emotional response can be huge. So here's what that looks like in daily life. A friend cancels plans, and instead of thinking they're probably busy, your brain tells you they don't like me anymore. Oh, you might also be like, oh, thank God I get to relax at home, unless you're not like me. At work, someone gives you feedback, and suddenly your chest is tight, your brain is buzzing, and you can't even think straight. It could even just be your boss saying, hey, I want to meet with you later. Or maybe you're just trying to have a regular conversation, and out of nowhere, your feelings are so big, you can't even hear what's being said anymore. If this sounds familiar, it's not because you're just dramatic. It's because your brain processes emotions in a more intense, less filtered kind of way. Now, here's where things get harder. It's not just the emotions themselves, it's what happens after. Most of us have been told directly or indirectly that we're too much, too sensitive, too emotional, too reactive. And after a while, those messages sink in. So, what do? We start masking. We push down our feelings. We tell ourselves, I'll deal with it later, or I just need to toughen up. Maybe we've even been told we'd do so much better if we had a thicker skin. Sometimes we even shut down completely because it feels safer than being seen as dramatic. But here's the kicker, that suppression doesn't make the emotions go away, it just adds shame on top of them. And shame is heavy. I'll be honest, I've lived this. I've been the calm one on the outside, while inside my emotions feel like a tidal wave. I thought if people really saw what was happening, they would think I was unstable. And I mean, in the past, I was told that. And that belief, that fear of being too much, is what really kept me stuck. And I know I'm not alone. If you've ever asked yourself, why can't I just handle life like everyone else seems to? That's shame talking. And it's one of the biggest reasons sensitivity feels like a burden instead of a gift. Here's what I want you to hear, sensitivity itself is not the problem. The struggle comes when we don't have the tools or the support to manage it. Yes, being sensitive with ADHD is exhausting at times. It's real, it can be draining, it can be messy, and it's okay to admit that. You don't have to sugarcoat or pretend it's always a gift or like your superpower, whatever. But here's the other side. That same sensitivity is the reason so many ADHD women are deeply empathetic, passionate, intuitive, and creative. It's the reason you can read a room in seconds, notice when someone's hurting, or pour yourself into a project with heart and soul. Your sensitivity is the same thing that makes you authentic, that connects you to other people, and that gives you the energy to fight for what matters to you. So the goal isn't to erase your sensitivity or toughen up, it's to learn how to work with it. So you don't only experience the overwhelm, but also can connect with the gifts. Think of it like carrying a powerful tool. Without training, it feels heavy and unwieldy. I'm thinking of that power saw at Menards where they're like, oh yeah, you can use this to just cut this dowel. And I was like, okay, yeah, great idea. Give that to me. I've never used one. But once you learn how to use it, like once I learned how to use that saw, that same tool can become one of your greatest strengths or a really awesome part of Menards. So, let me share a few strategies that can help. And remember, these aren't about changing who you are, they're about supporting your sensitivity so it works for you instead of against you. Number one, regulate your nervous system. So before you try and talk yourself out of an emotion, give your body a chance to reset. That might first sound like, oh, I'm feeling something big and naming and validating it. And then maybe standing up and shaking out your hands or stepping outside for some fresh air, to go for a walk or to hug a tree, my personal favorite. Or perhaps just noticing your breath as it is before you even invite it to slow down or deepen. That little pause helps signal safety to your brain. Name the emotion differently. Instead of saying, I am angry, saying, a part of me feels angry. This is an IFS technique and it shifts you from being consumed by the feeling to relating to it. That tiny shift is powerful. It gives you some wiggle room to be with the feeling instead of consumed by it. Anchor yourself in safe relationships if you have them. Whether it's a trusted friend, a therapist, or an ADHD community, having a place where you can show up sensitive without judgment makes a huge difference. It turns sensitivity from something isolating into something connective. Take micro breaks for perspective. If emotions feel stuck on repeat, try breaking the loop with a small grounding activity, like making tea and actually being present as you drink it, splashing your face with water, or even putting on a song that changes your emotional state. Little resets like these can help your brain switch channels when it feels stuck. None of these erase sensitivity, but they give you ways to carry it differently. So it's not just weight on your shoulders, it's also light in your hands. So if you've ever been told your emotions are too much, I want you to know this. Your emotions aren't a flaw, they're part of your brilliance. And yes, they can feel like a lot. But with the right supports, they can also be your superpower. And if this really resonates with you, there's another piece I don't want you to miss. Because sensitivity doesn't just show up as big feelings. Sometimes it snowballs into what we can call emotional flooding. That's when your emotions don't just hit hard for a few minutes, but spiral for hours, maybe even the whole day or week. And you might be thinking, why can't I just snap out of this? Why does this just keep going? If this is you, I have a video that dives into exactly that. It's called ADHD Emotional Flooding, How to Stop the Spiral Without Shutting Down. On the end screen to this video, you'll see it pop up. And in that video, we'll explore why the 90-second rule of emotions doesn't always work for ADHD brains and what actually helps stop the spiral so you can come back to yourself without shutting down. So go ahead and click over. I'll meet you there. Take good care.